Hello, everyone. Let's discuss major assignment number 1. So this is your PICO question assignment, and you'll find in the week number 2 module these instructions. So for this particular assignment, you're going to be working on your skills as a medical writer and as a researcher. The assignment is going to be due Sunday at midnight at the end of week number 10. And so what you're going to be doing, we'll see here in just a little bit. The assessment is your ability, or you're going to be assessed on your ability to address the required elements which are below in this document. And the scoring rubric is also at the end of this document. Now, when it comes to the assignment length, and then we're just using the same assignment format that has been used the past few years here in the PA program. The assignment length is going to be probably between 5 to 8 pages, not including the references and title page. There is no minimum or maximum page length requirement, though. When you submit it, please submit it last name, first name in this format here with the DMSc 730 PICO search. For element number 1, you're going to have a statement of the PICO question of your research project in bulleted format, and write the clinical question from the PICO elements in sentence format. Element 2, in narrative form, describe each item regarding your search strategy. How many citations did your search yield? Did you exclude citations that weren't relevant to your PICO question? If so, how many were excluded, and briefly describe the rationale for excluding them? Did you identify additional pertinent citations through other mechanisms? For example, using the references of key articles, were you able to identify additional relevant studies that would provide added value to your PICO question? After excluding articles that weren't relevant to your PICO, how many citations were remaining? Element number 3, determine the best articles that address your PICO question. Provide a brief outline of the selected articles and provide a written rationale for why you selected those articles. For your scoring rubric, the assignment's worth 50 points. Elements 1, 2, and 3 being addressed are 10 points each. Proper use of grammar, punctuation, etc., 10 points. And references. This should be a layup here, 10 points for using AMA format, superscripted, and appearing in order of appearance in your manuscript. Now, there are a couple examples that are on this second module, in this week 2 module, and these here, what you'll see is there's going to be a title page. Assignment number 1, what's your title, your name, George Fox University, College of Medical Science, the Doctor of Medical Science program. And you do not need to include my name. Here was Dr. Gambini's name. You do not need to include mine. That's fine. You can just then put the Advanced Research Project 1, Assignment 1, and the date that you are turning it in. You should have an introduction section. I don't know that that was clear within the elements, but there should be an introduction section that is kind of given a little bit of a background as to your PICO question. And as you look at these 2 introduction sections on the sampled assignments, there is some text that doesn't need to be included. I think Dr. Gambini included these here for you to appreciate the value of doing a PICO. For example, I highlighted in yellow here, if we're looking at this one way in analyzing the effectiveness would be to examine it by producing a concise research question through the PICO method. PICO is a mnemonic representing population intervention comparison and outcome. We know that. We already understand that you're doing this PICO assignment for the purposes of identifying literature related to your clinical question. What I think would be more valuable is getting into the background as to why. So in this particular introduction here, the author is discussing the ketogenic diet and what its efficacy is or its known efficacy for neurologic function, and then goes on to say, let's specifically look at it as a treatment for a particular patient population. So if you were doing something regarding the ketogenic diet, it may be valuable to have a few sentences in here about what the ketogenic diet is, a little bit more of the background for it, maybe a couple sentences as to what populations it is known to work well for, and maybe the biological reason or plausibility that it works the way it works. And then you get into one population that has the potential to benefit from the ketogenic diet is, in this case, patients with schizophrenia. The purpose of this particular PICO then is to assess the benefits of the ketogenic diet for patients with that diagnosis. Then, as mentioned before, we're getting into the PICO question where you're bulleting things. You've got your focus clinical question, your summary of research. So what did you utilize? What kind of keywords did you utilize? Did you utilize PubMed? Did you utilize CINAHL? Did you utilize other search engines? We'll be talking about those in week number 3. Then getting into the results of your research. And if you want to include a table, because that's going to be assignment number 3, the creation of a table with your keyword searches, that would be perfectly fine to embed that into this. I would totally accept that and be cool with that. And then finally, getting into your discussion section. All right, so there is both this particular student example. And let's go back up here again. So results of the research, okay, that's great. Now discussion, this is where the student is looking at the value of the ketogenic diet for the population of individuals with schizophrenia. And then finally, conclusion, what the student found, kind of wrapping things up, highlighting more research needs to be conducted regarding the topic at hand, etc., etc. Now, looking down here at references, AMA format, you do not need to include the DOI. I do not care about that. So please don't include those. That's just extra work on your part. I think it's fine just to use the typical last name initials for each of the authors involved, the title of the article, the abbreviated journal title, the year, volume and issue, and the page numbers. Looking at this other assignment here, I highlighted again as we take a look here. This is probably text that's not necessary for you to write. Introduction-wise, I think what this particular one is doing is looking at the benefits of aspirin in the primary prevention of cardiovascular disease. So have an introduction related to that. Don't need to go into the whole, yes, PICO's a mnemonic, blah, blah, blah. We know that already. All right. So both of these can be found in the week 2 module. Next week, week number 3, we're going to get into searching the literature. By the time you get to this, you might already see that week number 3 is available. If so, please feel free to explore week number 3 and begin on that process. And hopefully you're off to the races now on working on your PICO assignment. I'm available to answer questions. Please email me or stop by the office.